Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and we are back with episode 9 of Full Metal Panic. Dangerous Safe House is the name of the episode, and we got a new villain, so to speak. We're moving on from Garon. I believe this is more of a minor villain, or a minor group of villains. It's called the A21 Terrorists, and the basic premise behind them is they're a group that, they're kind of Russian. They use slaves, and they're looking into the lambda drive, using individuals that have lambda drive. So we kind of have a character who can suspect to be using of it based off their reactions, and kind of based on the events that follow within the episode. But I would say the core of it is we get to see it's more of a Tessa episode. We kind of see her be a little bit fish out of water, so to speak, when she's not on her submarine. So we'll go kind of a bit of a recap with it, with the series. But basically, at the beginning of the episode, we meet a character known as Takuma Kogiyama, and he's the suspect of being a candidate for Lambda Drive. He's very agitated. He got a drug in the system that would cause this reaction for potentially Lambda Driver users. It's the TI-97-1, and in candidates who can potentially use the Lambda Drive, it seems like they get violent and have a loss of memory. So that's what they sort of have that. That's what does them. No, they're not necessarily the perfect candidate for a Lambda Drive. They gotta still do do some more experiments, but he's believed to do it. Anyway, he's supposed to go through the airport and get in Japan, no problem. But of course, his violent tendencies cause him to attack an airport non-ticketer, but someone at an international airport that checks your passport, a passport checker, to make sure all their information is good to go. So he unfortunately attacks him because his tie is not straight, and this alerts Mithril because he's got the drug into him, takes a certain drug and takes him to a facility. And following that, we kind of see Tessa be a little bit off her game. She orders our main crew, Mao, Kurt, and Sosuke to a little war zone that they believe that the A21 terrorists are part of. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But, they're not really mad at her. She's very stressful. Also, she is also the same age as Sosuke, being 16 years old. So she's got a lot on her plate. They're like, it's okay, no problem. But we do have a little bit more funnier bit. As Sosuke remembered that he had an appointment with Chidori to discuss Japanese history. And he's like, she's probably going to be really mad at me. And we see that she is angry. And when she's angry, she's like a spitfire in terms of playing sports. They were playing softball at the time, and she just delivers a fastball. I guess they were playing baseball, but I mean, if it was more American, it'd be softball. But yeah, she just delivers probably a 90-mile-an-hour ball, and she gets him mad, gets a strikeout. But yeah, she's really angry. Her friend is like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, you're supposed to study with Sasuke, but he didn't show up, and so she's kind of angry. So, and she tries to laugh it off, but she secretly is, just based off her emotions. And then, of course, when she goes to bat and she hits a home run, he magically shows up. His little AS was invisible and bounces off the ball. He shows up and he apologizes in kind of like his manner, his wartime manner, and she's not happy with it. She spanks him with she throws one of the pitcher or one of the little mats and then creams him. So she's like, she says that she's not angry, but her tsundere part's coming out and her being a little bit infection with him, so she creams him. And he does a little bit later. He tries to apologize by giving her some nice joy, but he says too much because he says, they're for practical effects. well, this is what they look like. And then I've got a little flash grenade, so he kind of kept his mouth shut. I mean, it's very nice and everything, and Chihira's like, this is too nice. I'm like, well, it's more for practical effects. Like, so she gets angry again. And of course, she will continue throughout the entire day because that's her nature. But she will end up forgiving him, though with a bit of a side effect. Because while this goes on, they're at the laboratory, and the guy, they're doing the test, and unfortunately, the A1 terrorists attack. They attempt to try to get their man back, but unfortunately, it's escaped. However, at the loss of Callahan being captured, unfortunately, we see that there's a big explosion, get captured, and it's obvious kind of in the next episode that there's going to be sort of we'll get a continuation. But Callahan gets stuck. Tessa escapes with the perp. Takuma. They make it to Sosuke's house, and Sosuke, when he gets in, he suspects that something's up immediately, like something about the door. I didn't pick up on it, but maybe it looked like it was unlocked. He suspects something, opens, but it's of course Tessa, and she kind of helps. She gets her to calm and relax. She gives her some coffee. They have a nice chatter. He tells her a little backstory about between him and Callahan, like they used to be enemies, and that he's a tough guy. He's not dead. Trust me. And Tessa laughs. And he's like, you have a way. That's a funny way of making me calm down. Like that's how Mal described you. And then she gets very flirty, like saying, we're both 16. Like we could be boyfriend and girlfriend. And Sosuke's getting a little hot and heavy. It's like, act normally. She says, like, okay. And this gets worse when Chihiro comes to apologize, because not only does he have her in his house, he decides to take a little bit of shower. This is probably like the sexiest scene we'll see of her. She looks very tall. Like I'll show you in the next image, but Tessa looks like, not like she kind of looks like tall as Sosuke and everything. Like even taller, she gives off like a 5'8" vibe, and I don't think that's actually the case. I'll probably look a little bit later when I do the light novel, but yeah, she seemed very tall. I don't know, just how the perception and everything. But so she's taking a shower. Then Chihiro comes to apologize, and Sosuke like, let's have leftover dinner together. And Sosuke has his most human moment where he tries to apologize, listen, this is not a good time. I don't know how to explain everything. Please come back later. And then Chihiro picks up on the fact that she sees the girly shoes. Then, of course, she sees him, and he sweats off. I appreciate that Sosuke has a moment like, oh, this looks bad. Because she is his commander. Like, they're not dating or anything, but having another girl in the house, like, he picks up the social cues on that, and it's a very funny moment. And this is what I mean, kind of like how tall she is. I mean, if you look at the door frame and everything, but yeah. So, yeah, this is probably the sexiest shot we see of her. Chihiro's like, what? She has that expression. She doesn't yell or anything because we'll be saving that for the next episode. And of course, she will explain herself. But yeah, and it basically ends with there. So overall, a weird kind of episode, like the pacing and everything. And I think the thing that really kind of bugged me, I guess, was maybe the voice actress Yukano. In terms of Tessa's delivery, I don't know. I know what they were trying to go for, because outside the submarine, she's supposed to be petite. She's supposed to, like, this isn't her environment. But she just sounded a bit weird. It was just too soft-spoken, and it was kind of a bit annoying. And I've heard her in other things. I think most notably, Bathroom Hanako. She's Yako, and I've heard her voice, like, she doesn't sound too bad. So I don't know why that kind of really, like, why her voice didn't connect through. Maybe it's just because it was one of her earlier voices. I don't know. Maybe if I listened to English, it would come off better, but it seemed a bit annoying for my part. But, other than that, a fine episode. Not necessarily my favorite, except till the end. That was probably the best part. The reactions between Sosuke and Tessa. I also didn't like Chihiro. Like, Chidori's got the tsundere kind of vibe, which it yes and no. I get it, but it doesn't. It's not my favorite archetype. She's not one of the better, I guess, better classes of her. Even though she is a kind of a cool character overall, I don't like her. I wish she wasn't tsundere, I guess, or she was a different, like a better tsundere. But with that, I've rambled long enough. I gotta get going for my dog Major. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time on Wednesday for episode 10, the second part of this 821. I think there might be more episodes. I'm not 100% sure. I think this takes up the entire book, but it's a multi-part. So anyway, have a nice, wonderful day.